their name, their company, their
the size of your company.
The size of your company
and what you're looking
and what you're looking
to
to achieve.
Where did my agenda introduce you to?
And I'd like to introduce you to our two guest speakers today. One is Jody Johnson, the CEO of Action Coach, and the other is Raul Morales from the World Trade Center, Miami. So if you look at your audio, there is a chat button, and if you would like to ask a question, please ask the question to the host, the presenter, if it's private, or include everybody if it's public. First, I want to make sure that everybody on the call can understand me and understand English. Liz, can we somehow find out or give people voice if they are not understanding English?
I think the best thing to do is to, in the chat, if you are, unable to hear, just let us know. So in the chat section, just put in there, yes, I understand, or, I have additional questions, and we can answer all the questions from there.
Okay, perfecto. Entonces, si hay alguien que no está entendiendo el inglés o no puede oír o tiene algún problema, en la pantalla, en la parte de abajo al lado derecho, hay un cosito que dice chat en naranja. Por favor, pueden escribir ahí si tienen una pregunta o no entendieron o necesita que algo sea repetido en español si no lo entendieron en inglés. And also we have some only English speakers on this call. So if something is said, this is going to be a Spanglish call. If something is said in Spanish and you did not understand, please let us know through the chat function. Okay? So, Jody, would you like to start off then, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Just a little bit about me. I am the CEO of an Action Coach firm here in Miami, Florida, so welcome in your upcoming visit to Miami. I'm also the CEO of Timely Financials and the founder of Miami Growth Advisors, which is a group of advisors to help people with what's going on here in Miami and the growth of South Florida and the world, really, in the next decade. So right now, what I'd like you to do is to introduce yourself. Take 60 seconds to share with us the following: your name and the name of your company, how many people from your team will be attending the show and their role, the size of your company, and what you're looking to achieve from attending this year's Food and Beverage Show. Who would like to go first?
Everyone's on mute, so we can have them. I can unmute them one by one, and I'll just call out your name.
Okay. By the attendees there, that would be great.
Yep. So Aida Calderon.
Yes. Yes.
Just introduce yourself and your company, and how many people are coming from your company to the show.
What you'd like to achieve.
My name is Aida Calderon. I work for Designers for Kenya. We produce tea. We produce tea and sugar, raw cane sugar. We are a small family company.
I can't hear anything.
We are going to be Miami with 2 people, and we are looking to find new contacts, new buyers to expand our market.
Inez, give you one of these.
Thank you. We couldn't really hear you very, very well. So if you could just say what you're looking to achieve from attending the conference one more time, that would be great.
Conference, yeah, no, I would like to have all the information that I need.
I think probably the best thing, because we have a lot of people and just an hour, that we should probably just have people introduce themselves through the chat, so you know, everyone can see, and as new people join, they can introduce themselves as well. Does that make sense?
What I'm going to do then, so is maybe have a
just to see who's on the call first before they get the company information.
Yeah. I'm gonna read off who I have on the call, and if you can please put on the chat if I have not called you or if I don't recognize your name. We have Aida Calderon, Alicia Sierra from, I don't know what company she is.
Calderon.
Sierra.
I believe she's from WEConnect, actually. So she's
Just marking off the ones that are
WEConnect in Mexico.
Calderon.
Okay. Arley Montaño.
Montaño.
He's from the Ministry of Commerce in Colombia.
Okay.
We have call-in user number 10, call-in user number 11, and call-in user number 12. I don't know who they are.
One of those might be Raul.
Erica Carillo.
What company?
Happy Marmalades.
Mm-hmm.
Gigi Twist. Upfront Foods.
Mm-hmm.
Juan Rad, who is from Pro Exports. Leslie Kaplan from Batter Up.
Okay.
Lisi Montoya from Frutos Exóticos. Luz Maria de la Mora. I don't know who that is.
She is from WEConnect International in Mexico. And so is Paloma Martinez.
Melisi Torres.
From? Oh, she is from Biox Water. Melissa Lucia.
From Viox? Okay. And Monica Guevara in Colombia. And Paloma Martinez.
Paloma Martinez is with?
Who's Paloma Martinez with?
She's from WEConnect International in Mexico.
So we're missing. Okay. So you want to
Huh? Yeah. Right. Go to the
So welcome, everybody. And I'd like to just make sure that you can see my PowerPoint here. All right, great. And then if you could keep in the background of your mind, what is it that you're looking to achieve by attending this year's Food and Beverage Show, and specifically by participating in the Women's Pavilion? So it's all about buying customers. Getting clear on your goals for the event allows you to get the most from your participation in the Women's Pavilion at America's Food and Beverage Show. Now, we don't typically think of our business as being in the business of buying customers, but you actually are, regardless of your industry, regardless of the kind of business, regardless of what you sell, in the business of buying customers. And as we go through today's presentation, you'll see how that is true. So here's how you can massively boost your number of new clients. There are 4 little-known strategies. The first one is your mindset is key. The second, the only 5 ways to multiply your profits. Third, buying customers starts with knowing your numbers. And fourth, how you can have an unlimited marketing budget. So we'll start off with your mindset. To make sure you get the most out of your learning today, and in general in life, you'll have to suspend the 2 words, I know. In the English language, we say that the 2 words, I know, are the most expensive words there are. Because the moment you say, I know, or I already know that, or I've heard that before, your brain shuts down learning, and you're off thinking about what are you going to have for dinner, or what are the kids doing, or something like that. So in order to get the most from your learning, you've got to keep an open mind and ask yourself, what could I learn today, or what could I learn from what I'm hearing and seeing right now that can help me to do a better job of business development, better job as a leader, whatever it is. So suspending the 2 words that I know. And we replace them with, isn't that interesting, or how could this apply to me right now? So can I get everybody's agreement to suspend I know at least for the next hour? And I invite you to suspend it anytime you catch yourself saying it in the future. Great. Okay. So the only, pardon me for that, skipping that, we've just touched the button too quick. The only failure is the failure to participate. If you give 100% today, you're going to get 100%. If you give 100% to your participation in the food and beverage show, you're going to get 100%. But the only failure is the failure to participate full out. So I want to go a little bit through one of the most important mindset slides that we use with clients here at Action Coach when we're training people on how to grow their businesses. It's called Above and Below the Line. And you'll see the line in the center of this page. And that line represents the line of choice that you have in any given moment on how you're going to respond to the circumstances that are coming your way. The below the line types of being, ways of being, are blaming yourself, blaming the economy, blaming your coworkers, blaming your team, blaming whatever for a lack of results. Making excuses either for ourselves, for the company, for our employees, for our customer, making excuses about why we don't have what we're after. And then denial. And denial, if you're truly in denial, you don't know that you don't know. But most of the time, we see denial showing up as minimizing the impact of something that you either did or didn't do, personally, as a team, or as a company. That might look, in this particular case, like, well, I'll just make the best of it when I get there, rather than preparing for it in advance and then denying that there was something that you could have done that would have given you a better outcome out of your participation. We call any below the line blame, excuses, or denials being the victim of circumstances rather than victorious over the circumstances. So what will allow you to be victorious and get the kinds of results that you're after? Taking full ownership, accountability, and responsibility for yourself, for your team, and for your company. This is probably the most important mindset slide that I can share with you. Quick little story, one of the clients that has moved here from Venezuela a couple of years back had grown the business 3 years in a row, doubling it from $500,000 to $1 million, $1 million to $2 million, and $2 to $4.2 during the 3 years of the recession here in South Florida. And the way he did it was he worked 10 hours a week on his business, and he took full ownership, accountability, and responsibility for everything that came his way. So this is a very, very important mindset slide. Okay, to make sure you get the most out of your learning, be sure that you write down your blinding flashes of the obvious in the webinar today. There will be things that come up and may have already come up in this webinar that will allow you to go, oh, okay, aha, if I read through the exhibitor success manual and I'm prepared and I invite people to come to my booth, I'm going to be able to have a much more successful event than I would had I not, for example. And I highly, highly encourage everyone on this call to read the Exhibitor Success Handbook. When I was preparing for this webinar, I read through it and I was astounded at the excellence with which this document was written. If you read through this and you do what it says, you will be as prepared as you can possibly be to get the most out of your participation in this event. So I highly, highly recommend that you do that. Any other blinding flashes of the obvious, you can share them with us on the chat or during questions and answers, but be sure that you write them down. So you may ask, why are we doing this webinar? Why are we taking the time to actually do this webinar with you, asking you to look at what you want to get out of your participation in the event in advance of the event, which isn't happening until later this year? It's because we're setting your reticular activating system. Your reticular activating system is actually a true part of your brain. It sits in the pituitary gland, and what it does is it filters out anything that's irrelevant or unimportant to you, and it actually allows your mind to focus in on and be alert to the things that you say are important. So when you've articulated your goals, you set your reticular activating system to be the compass for your brain, and that will help you both consciously and unconsciously to get the most out of your participation. Now we're going to switch gears and go into the only 5 ways to multiply your business profits. We call this our 5 ways, and it starts with how do you get more customers, grow your revenues, and get more profits? Well, to get more customers is a function of the number of leads that you get in your company, which is marketing, and your conversion rate, which is how well you can convert a lead into a client. So we're looking at your marketing efforts and how you generate leads, and your ability as a team and as individuals to convert those leads into a customer. Once you have the customers, then it's a matter of how many transactions will that customer do with you in a given period of time, say a quarter or a year, and what do they spend with you on average when they do buy. Then your number of customers times the number of transactions and that average dollar sale give you the revenues of the company. Now, of course, that's not the end of the day, because once you have revenues, you've got to multiply that times your margin, and that gives you profits. So you can see that the words, the number of customers, revenues, and profits are in red. Those are outcomes. And the words in green, number of leads, conversion rate, number of transactions, average dollar sale, and margin, are what we call the 5 ways, which are areas that you can impact to make a difference in the outcomes that you're after. So let's put in some numbers to illustrate how this concept works. So we've said that we've got a number of leads is 500. I figured in most all of your companies, 500 leads in a year is probably a very doable number. a conversion rate of 5%, which is a very, very low conversion rate, a very conservative conversion rate, probably have higher conversion rates than that, but let's use a super conservative conversion rate of 5%. So out of 500 leads, at 5% conversion rate, that will bring you an additional 25 new customers. And if those customers, on average, do 4 transactions with you a year with an average dollar sale of $10,000, that will bring you revenues of $1 million. At a margin of 20%, your gross profit would end up being $20,000. Now, your numbers may vary, and may vary a great deal from these numbers, but if you look at this in terms of your attendance at the Americas Food and Beverage Show, the ability to get 500 leads is probably fairly doable for most of you, since somewhere around 12,000 attendees will be passing through all of the booths that are there. At a conversion rate of 5%, you get 25 new customers, and then you can extrapolate this through with numbers that are accurate for your business. So let's look at, with a 10% increase in the number of leads and the conversion rate throughout this formula, you see that it goes from 500 leads to 550. Your conversion rate goes from 5 to 5.5. And then when you look at the number of customers, we jump from 25 to 30.25. Now, you can't have a quarter of a person. You don't just get a leg. So you can either round that down to 30 or round it up to 31. I encourage you to round it up to 31. And you'll notice that going from 25 to 30 is not a 10% increase. That's because the formula compounds throughout. So as you increase from 4 to 4.4 and an average dollar sale from 10,000 to 11,000, you'll see that the revenues jump from $1 million to 1.4, 6.4, and 100. That's a 46% increase in revenues. And with a slight increase in your margin, your profits jump 61% from 200,000 to 322,102. Now, this formula is probably one of the simplest yet most important formulas for you to understand. I will assert that this is the reason why many people don't prepare for the marketing opportunities that are available to them, and particularly this marketing opportunity that's available to you all at the Food and Beverage Show. When you understand increasing the number of leads, being prepared so that you can increase your conversion rate, giving really great promotions and offers to increase the number of transactions and average dollar sales, and then making sure that you manage expenses, both cost of goods and fixed expenses, will have on the profitability of your company. You'll start paying really close attention to how can I get that done. For fun, I took and increased from the numbers that I put in here by 100%, by just doubling the number of leads, so you could see the kind of compounding impact that it has on the profitability when you double the number of leads, your conversion rate, average dollar sale, and number of transactions. Now, that's not that easy to do, but I want to illustrate to you just the power of knowing these numbers and how it can impact both your revenues and your profits in the company. Now, marketing is math, so you have to test and measure all of your marketing activities. I'm clear that those of you who are coming to the Women's Pavilion have been invited to come here, and the investment in your booth has been waived. However, you still have an investment in attending this event. You have your flight, you have your hotel, you have any team members that you're bringing with you, you have your food and entertainment, and you have whatever marketing collateral material you bring with you. So knowing that investment and making sure that you get a return on investment is a really key and important aspect of knowing your numbers, because marketing is math. For every dollar that you invest in marketing, you need to make sure you're getting a return. And the only way that you can get a return is to test and measure those numbers that I just shared with you. Knowing your numbers, the number of leads you have, your conversion rate, your number of transactions, your average dollar sale, and your margin or profits on a sale. Now, the show is happening in October, so between now and the time of this show, you've got 2 months to go back and get a pretty clear idea on the number of leads that have come into your company in the first half of this year, the conversion rate of those leads to clients per company and per individual salesperson, looking at the number of transactions your existing clients do with you on average so that you can have an understanding of any new customer you bring in and what number of transactions they're likely to do with your company, and what your current clients invest with you on average in every single sale. Now, some companies may have to tier their sales, average dollar sales, where you may have a group of people that will invest, say, under $5,000, and another group that may invest up to, say, $25,000, and some that invest more than that. It depends on your company, and if you need to tier this and know your numbers in those different areas, that's fine. But you'll want to get a general understanding of these numbers in your company so that you can drive the results that you're after and set goals for yourself to accomplish at the Food and Beverage Show when you come in October. So how do you create an unlimited marketing budget? Now that you know how you're going to get new customers and how you're going to get increased revenues and how you're going to increase your profits, how can you create an unlimited marketing budget? Your accountant will teach you that sales and marketing is an expense. Our view is that sales and marketing is an investment, and that for every dollar that you put out, more dollars should come in. And why is that true for some businesses and not others? It's because they actually know their numbers. Business is all about buying lifetime customers. So you'll start with being really clear about who is your ideal customer. So we say that an awesome customer is somebody who fits your target market, pays terms, is easy to work with, gives you referrals. I mean, they're just great, awesome clients. Your B clients are your good basic customers, so maybe they do everything except give you referrals to other companies that will do business with you, but in every other way, they're a great client, great customer. The C grade is they're difficult to deal with, and you'll either need to retrain them in how to be an awesome customer or a good basic customer, or they go into your D grade customers, which are deadbeat customers. Now, the importance of this is that 80-20 rule called the Pareto principle, where 20% of your customers are generally responsible for 80% of your revenues. Test me on this. Go back and look at your client base and see if this is true for you and your business. Out of every company I've ever worked with in the last 8 years, on average, this is very true. The opposite is also true. You'll have 20% of your customers that are responsible for 80% of your headaches and time dealing with complaints and upsets and breakdowns. So that 20% that gives you the most headaches and problems, you're better off letting them go or referring them to a competitor who might be able to better serve them than trying to get a D-grade customer to be an A-grade customer. And what happens with the A-grade customers when you're focusing all your time, attention, and energy on the customers that are deadbeat? You don't serve them, and they end up leaving you for someone else. It's really critical to be very clear of who your ideal customer is so that you're able to do your very best and they become raving fans that promote you and become part of your sales force. So the first thing is, who is your ideal customer? Get real clear on that, and I invite you to actually write that down so that you're recognizing them when they approach. Now we'll talk about, in marketing, who is your suspect, prospect, and lead. We call somebody a suspect if they fit your target market. They're a suspect if they fit into anybody who could conceivably buy your product. So you may have a list of every distributor or every wholesaler that, or retail organization that could buy your products in the United States or even throughout the world or the country that you're coming from. And they would be suspects in your database. I'll just put in a little note. If you're not tracking your leads in a database, be sure that you start doing that, because an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc is insufficient. You need a contact management system that becomes your company's asset that tracks your leads and your clients or your customers. So anyone that could conceivably buy from you is called a suspect. Somebody is a prospect if you've marketed to them. So if you've got, I'll make up something, 5,000 suspects, and you send out a marketing piece, or you attend a trade show, and 1,000 people come by and see what it is that you have to offer, they now have qualified as a prospect. You marketed to them, and they're now a prospect. So you'll have a conversion rate from suspect to prospect, and you'll also have a conversion rate from prospect to lead. So what do we call a lead? A lead is someone that takes an action and you collect their details. So a lead would be somebody who raises their hand and says, yes, I'm interested, tell me more. And that you then collect their details. Either you got their business card, or they filled out some kind of a form for you, or in some way, shape, or form, you have a way of reaching out to them again. Now they're qualified as a lead. And then they enter into our 5 ways formula. So in order to buy lifetime customers, think of it this way. If you invest $20,000 on an advertisement or some marketing campaign that brings you 10 new customers, it costs you $2,000 to buy each one, right? And you may not realize this as a business owner, but you actually buy customers. And unless you know what the return on your marketing dollars is, you won't know how much to invest in order to get more customers. But if you do know, then you can say, all right, if I want 10 new customers, it's going to cost me $2,000, then I need to invest $2,000, whether it's in a magazine or an industry magazine, to attract more customers. It may be in marketing materials, it may be on my website, it might be on search engine optimization, or it may be on how well I'm prepared for the America's Food and Beverage Show and the Women's Pavilion. But you'll be buying customers with every dollar that you invest, and you must know what that return is. So we qualify that as an allowable acquisition cost is that you've actually invested less on that new customer than the profit on your first sale. Let me say that again. We call an allowable acquisition cost to get a new customer as less than the profit on your first sale. So if the profit on your first sale is $2,500 and you invested $2,000, then you have an allowable acquisition cost, and you know that you have a profit of $500, then bravo. I can buy new customers all day long, and I have no problem doing it no matter how much it costs, because I know when I do that, I'm going to make $500 in profit. An investment acquisition cost is it costs you more than the profit on your first sale. So if you actually spent or invested, as it were, $2,000, but you only brought in $1,800, then you actually lost profitability on that first sale, but know that that person will probably buy from you on average 2 or 3 times this year, and you'll make up for that in your second or third sale. As a general rule, you will not be profitable until you've made a second, third, or fourth sale with a customer. This is why, as owners, it's so important for you to know that the operations that serve the sale that got made and the customer service is so important, so that you ensure that people come back and buy from you a second, a third, and beyond, so that you ensure the profitability of that client once you get them. So the lifetime value of a customer, how often do they buy from you? Now, on average in your company, how often does a customer buy from you? It might be monthly, it might be quarterly, it might be one bulk sale of, say, a container a year. You need to be clear on how often they buy from you, because once you bring in a new client, you can immediately know, okay, on average they're going to buy from me this many times this year. And then how much will they spend with you on average every time they buy? So you're starting to see this multiplying effect throughout for every customer that you bring in or your sales team brings in. Now think even further. How many weeks, months, or years do they keep on buying from you? An industry average is typically somewhere around 6 years. So now all of a sudden it's like, wow, bringing in that customer, they provide enormous value to my company. And if you can keep them longer than that, even better. The next area to look at in terms of a client's or customer's lifetime value is how many referrals do they give you? Maybe they give you 1 or 2 a year, maybe they give you 10 a year. How many referrals will they give you? And that tells you the true lifetime value of a customer. You can see why for every dollar you invest, why it's so important to take really good care of the customers that you bring in, because it's not just that first sale. It's so much more than that, and why operations and customer service have to be completely in sync with your business development efforts. So all of this is an example of leveraging, where you divide to multiply doing ever more with ever less. So in the 5 ways, we divided up the profitability you make in your customers, in your business, by the number of leads that you get times your conversion rate. Now you've got your customers. How many transactions will they do with you on average? What is your average dollar sale? Now you've got your revenues. Then you go and look at what are your margins, your gross margins, your net margins, and that will give you your profits, which ultimately need to lead to cash. So if you do the work once and get paid long-term forever, then that's an outstanding return on your investment. So being sure that you're prepared for this event, that you have your database, that you're using a contact management system, that you have the training in place for your salespeople so they can make the most of it. We also say that real leverage is learn once and use that knowledge forever. This particular webinar, we were talking about the 5 ways, being clear on your ideal customer, being clear on operating above the line. Learn this once, use that knowledge forever. This is real leverage. Invest in marketing once and get clients forever. If you get clients from your trip up here to Miami in October that you keep for the next 6 years or more, and then every year you come back and add new ones, I mean, it's exponential, the growth that your company can have. So if you invest well in your marketing today, you can get paid for years and years to come on that client. Get the customer once, keep them forever. Build your business once and get income forever. So we're going to go now to questions and answers, but let me just reiterate before we go to the question section of this, that this Exhibitor Success Handbook is probably one of the best tools that I have ever come across as a business coach when it comes to a trade show. I was so impressed with the quality of this Exhibitor Success Handbook that if you read this and you take on what I've shared with you this morning and you come here, you will absolutely have outstanding success out of your participation. Some of the things that are in here that I think are very, very important to go over just real quickly is when you lay a solid foundation for success, at closing time, you've got the next 90 to 180 days after the show where you'll be able to take advantage of the leads that you've gotten. You need to create specific outcomes and then the plans for achieving that outcomes. So it's not enough to just know what you want to get done. You have to drill down what are the specific action items that need to happen for us to be able to fulfill on this. Another one that I thought was great in here is that only 15% of exhibitors use the targeted pre-show marketing to identify and attract enough of the right people to their exhibit. So you want to be one of those 15%. I mean, they really need to knock that out of the ballpark because there's no excuse for coming and not really being prepared to take advantage of it, especially if you're on this call. And I acknowledge everyone on this call for being on the call because you're the kind of people who will absolutely make the most of this trip. And I really do acknowledge you for that. The last thing that's on here that I thought was a pretty important piece of information is that exhibition industry research shows that only 13% of the leads are followed up. So make sure that you have a process in place in advance to make sure that you're prepared and your sales team is prepared to follow up on every single lead that you get. So focus on preparing for your success in the show, and we'll now open up for questions and answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jody. That was a wonderful presentation, and we really appreciate your volunteering your time to help these women. We know that Jody's company is actually certified as a woman-owned business in the United States, so she is aware of what what many of you are doing. She's been in business a little bit longer, but it's wonderful that she can be a mentor and share her experience with us. And she's also going to be going to the show to be there with us, so you'll be able to meet her there and some of the events that we are having. I'd like to start off with a question while you think of your questions, and if you have a question, please go ahead and add it to the chat. And I see we have one come in already, but before I go to that, I wanted to ask Jody. In your presentation, you had the number of leads, and you used the example of 500 leads. And I think you referred to that as a company can have 500 leads in a year, with more or less.
Well, what I meant by 500 is we have to use some number, right? Right. So that you'll need to go back and see how many leads you typically get in your company in some time frame. But I would imagine that you could get 500 leads into your business fairly easily, whether you do it through your website, you do it through sales calls and cold calls, through direct marketing, through trade shows. So this is not an outrageous number of leads to bring in a year. You can look at the 5 ways formula in a number of different ways. I like to look at it minimally every quarter as the entire set of numbers, and then obviously every year. It doesn't really make sense to go and look at the number of transactions or the average dollar sale in most businesses on a monthly basis, although I would highly recommend that you look at the leads that you bring in and the conversion rate on a monthly basis, and in some companies even weekly.
So, Jody, focusing on this show, because we want them to make a business plan for the show.
Yep.
So if they're making a business plan and going back to decide, let's say they think, I want to get 2 new customers from the show.
Okay.
Working backwards, then how many leads? Could you walk us through that if you're focusing right on the show?
Okay.
How can they, because this discussion is more like for a year for your business in general. If you could bring this down and focus on the show, like how many people do they have to grab?
Okay.
In order to do that?
There's so many factors. That is a great question. So actually, you could use this formula just for the show. So if you say, this is the profit that I want to make out of it, this is my profit margin on average, this is how much I need to make from a lead that I get at this show in revenues, and then on average what the first sale would be, what it would be worth, and then the number of customers. So now you're back at, I want to get 2 customers. All right, so I would certainly hope for the most part that you could get more than 2 customers from this show. But let's just say you want to get 2, Anna. And if you have a conversion rate of 5%, that means that out of every one of the people that you talk to, you would have to have, if we said 20 people, then you would get 1 customer. Now, depending on the size of your business and the size of an average dollar sale, then you'll have to go back in and say, okay, if I talk to 20 people and I have an in-depth conversation, and I know that they're going to spend with me on average $10,000, then the depth of the conversation that you have with people may be very different than the depth of a conversation that people have with somebody who's going to actually invest, say, $1,000 with them or $40,000 with them. But a 5% conversion rate would be 1 new customer out of every 20 people that you talk to. Now, if your conversion rate is higher than that, and I would imagine it probably is if you're the owner of the company, because no one can sell your company like you, right? So let's say your conversion rate, a typical conversion rate is more like 15%, right? Then out of every 15 people that you talk to, you're going to have a customer, right? So that's the world of how it works.
So I think for them to plan, I think that they may want to look to see what is part of their overall business plan, what they could accommodate as far as sales.
Yep.
Because they have, if they get someone to buy from them, they have to make sure that they can
deliver on it
and deliver. That's
Absolutely.
very important. So an important thing might be for them to look at their business and see, according to my business, how much could I deliver, and what is the most that I could deliver, and then how would that translate to sales? It might be 2 sales, but it might be 1. It depends on the size of the sale.
And the size of the company and your operations.
Right. And I think one of the very important things you said, Jody, was that you're not chasing numbers. You're chasing quality.
Yeah.
And so I think that maybe going back and knowing what the amount or what you can deliver, and then follow Jody's calculations to see what does that mean as far as how many people you need to reach at the show.
Yeah. See, when I'm training people that are clients of mine to go to a show, they have to have a clear objective of how many customers and leads they want to come back with. Right? So knowing that your conversion rate on average, let's say if it's 10%, so it's 1 in 10, or however what your conversion rate is on average, and you can use 10 to 15, 10 to 20% as an average conversion rate. Then how many people do I need to talk to in order to bring in a new customer that will spend this much with me on average? And then as Anna said, what is the maximum capacity that my company can deliver in terms of its product or service?
Excellent. So I think we can turn to some of the questions that we've been getting. We've had a couple people on the show wondering if they can see the presentation again, and I think, Liz, maybe if you can address that question first.
I think you're going to put a link on the website.
Yeah. Liz? Okay.
Yep,
Liz,
we'll have a recording of the presentation, and we can send it out to the list of people who attended.
That's great.
Right. So you will get the PowerPoint, and as well, Liz is going to make available the recorded version. I think some of the other questions that we've been getting is about the leads. And there was a question here is, what exactly do you recommend as a lead? Business cards from the clients to create a business stand? I think this is a good question, and it goes back to your 3 steps of what's a prospect, what's a lead, and that.
So if in the Exhibitor Success Manual, Raul wrote up an excellent explanation of what you need to do prior to the show in order to invite people to come to your booth. So be sure that you read that manual. I don't know if it's available in Spanish, but I would imagine it probably is. If not, I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is, if I remember correctly. Anyway, so what they also have is, if you go to the actual website of the event itself, they have a scanning tool that will scan the card,
the
name tag, and the name tag will give you all the information of the company that that person represents. So if you want to rent that, you can do it and do it very easily, and then they'll send it to you in a file at the end of the show. Additionally, you can collect business cards. Obviously, you can collect business cards. And then the issue with that, though, is I can tell you that in my experience, people always run out of business cards. And they say, oh, I gave my last one away, you know, an hour ago, or at the last booth, or yesterday, or whatever it is. So you cannot bring too many business cards or too many pieces of marketing collateral, right? So be sure that you bring plenty of at least business cards. But if you want to use this scanning machine, there's some registration in advance that allows you to get it for a little bit less, and then they do have it available at the show if you, for any reason, change your mind and want to do it then. But what I would call a lead is anybody who came by your booth and expressed an interest in your product and you collected their card, scanned their name tag, or they gave you some collateral material of their own, then I would call them a lead.
Okay, that's very good. And I think some other, just to refer to, she was talking about, in the email that we sent on Wednesday with the information for this webinar was a copy of the document that Jody is talking about. Also, maybe if Liz can give us control of the screen, we can show you how on your confirmation letter that you got, you will have a link to go into the website of the show, and you will have access to see everybody who is coming and a lot of very cool things. So we can go through that in a bit too, if we can get access to the screen in a bit. I have I have some other questions. Some came in, how to get a hold of the exhibitor's manual. Again, that was a copy of that was in the email that we sent, and you can also get it on by logging on your confirmation. We have a question came in. What are the most important things a customer is looking for in a new supplier? I think Raul, it was on the phone. I don't know if there's a way for him to be able to talk, Liz. I think that he could address that best.
I don't really have a way of knowing which one he is on the phone, if he's caller user 10 or 12, but I can unmute them both and see.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yay!
Okay.
Hello.
Great.
Yeah, I've been here all along. I was listening to Jody's wonderful presentation, so I was here all along.
Thank you, Raul.
No, my pleasure.
So Raul, I think now that we got you on, maybe you can talk a little bit about that question as far as the great agenda you had prepared to show with the group. And Liz, maybe you can put Raul's agenda on the screen. And Raul, maybe you can also talk about how for the women's pavilion that the World Trade Center is providing a person who who will be setting up one-on-one meetings for them, and then also maybe talk about the importance of them getting in the information on the new products show.
Of course. Thank you. And Jody, again, thank you for all your accolades regarding the Exhibitor Success Handbook. We think it is, in agreement with you, a very, very valuable tool, not only for this show, but for any other show that the business owners pursue in the future. Just to keep in pace. Thank you so much. Just to keep in pace with the agenda, because I know everyone's time is very valuable. Obviously, welcome to the 18th Americas Food and Beverage Show. The show is organized and has been organized. Now it's in its 18th year by the World Trade Center Miami. So again, we're very, very confident that all the business owners in the Women's Pavilion will do very well in this year's show. Always keeping in mind that we have to remain proactive when exhibiting, or in preparation for the show and while exhibiting, and I'll explain some observations that I've made in several shows that I've attended as to why I made this statement. The next thing in the agenda was the pending contracts, which Anna has done a great job in expediting. We just need 3 more, and that should now fill up the entire Women's Pavilion, so good job to that. Next in the agenda is the review of the booth contents. As you know, we provide each exhibitor with a turnkey, all-inclusive booth package, and as it's itemized in the agenda, it does include, of course, your 10x10 pipe and drape booth space. It includes, of course, the side railings. It includes a 1-foot skirted draped table. It includes the 2 chairs, fully carpeted, your electrical outlet, which is 500 watt, equivalent to 120 volts, your booth signage. Each booth, of course, has their own wastebasket. You get the daily cleaning. Each booth is entitled to 5 booth staff personnel badges. If you need more, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to increase that for you. There's no problem in that. Your exhibitor service manual, which Jody briefly spoke to about it shortly, and we'll review it again very briefly. Of course, your company will be listed in the show's official website. You're listed, of course, in the exhibitor directory manual, which is the manuals that are distributed to the attendees at the show. And with the purchase of your booth, or in this case with the booth that you have at the show complimentary, you'll have the ability to promote your company and its products via the virtual online new product showcase, which we'll review shortly, and it's very simple. You're able to provide us with product entries for the on-site new product showcase that's located in the exhibit hall, and you're welcome to supply more. We're not limiting you to 3. Your company is listed as a featured exhibitor in our monthly newsletter, and our PR company, who is run by Yendi Valdez, is providing extra promotions and marketing by several channels in social media such as Facebook, Google, Twitter, and some blogging. Okay. And to begin reviewing the exhibitor the exhibitor manual, if you could all log in to the show's website, I think that will be the easiest and most comprehensive and for all of you. So if you can just log into the show's website at www.americas, with an S, foodandbeverage.com, and then just let me know once you've logged in.
Now, Liz, isn't there a way that we could do that and put that up on the screen?
Yep, I can do that.
And so that's www.americas, plural, foodandbeverage.com.
Okay, we've got it on the screen.
Okay. So if you could enter the following, click where it says exhibitor. So this is the general show's homepage of the show's website. In order to access your exhibitor manual, you just, on the left-hand side, go to all the way in the bottom and click where it says exhibitor manual.
Okay.
Then you would enter your individual email, password, and user ID. We'll use a generic one for now. So type in M as in Mark, Stevenson, with a V, STEVENSON, at EPTA,
okay.
EPTA, and then the word America, so you'll have 2 A's, EPTAamerica.com.
Okay.
Then on the, I believe it's a user ID, it'll be L, V as in Victor, D as in David, K.
Is this the password?
Yes.
Okay.
L.
And capital letters? I'm sorry.
You could, yeah. L, V as in Victor, D, K, 3471.
Okay.
Are you in?
Yep.
Okay, great. So,
and Raul, excuse me, for them to find out what their password is, that is all in the confirmation letter that they received?
Yes, and that's what I was leading to now. I was going to explain that. So once Anna sends me your contract, or if you send me your contract directly, once I process it, the system automatically generates an exhibitor welcome letter that you receive via email. Once you open up that letter, it'll have some valuable information, an explanation, welcoming you, of course, to the show. Then it'll give you a hyperlink and then a user ID and an email password. These are your individual passwords and user ID to allow you access to your online exhibitor manual. In your exhibitor manual, it has all the information you'll need to know about exhibiting and preparing to exhibit. So,
Liz, should she click on exhibitor manual PDF?
Well, yeah, we're going to go one by one now for each tab.
Okay, sorry.
So the first one that you're going to log into, as Anna mentioned, is the exhibitor manual PDF. That may take a while to download because it's approximately 80-something pages. That you have the option of either printing it out so you have quick access to it, or you can just go back to your exhibitor manual online as you need it. And this exhibitor manual has all the information that you'll need to know regarding the show dates, the show times, setup times, bringing down the booth, date and times, and all rental-related information, forms, if you're sending your samples, how to send them, what are the deadlines. Jody was mentioning about, asking for business cards. You can also purchase lead scanners, and it's got certain dates that you'll get it at a lower price, and then another date that you'll get it at a higher price. So it's where you can order food, plants, furniture, whatever you need. It's all-encompassing in the exhibitor manual. Is this clear?
Yes. But are you looking at, Raul, I see two different things. Are you looking at the thing that,
that you have to get in with that little,
well, I just can't see. It's a white and blue document. Is that what's on the screen? Because we have two different things on the screen.
Oh, that might be my screen.
Yeah.
That's what they're seeing.
Yeah.
The Expo convention. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're looking
But so it's
That's
not
it.
confusing. Yeah, but if it's not confusing for people, we're already including this. They don't need to go and do this. Correct?
Okay, but yeah, I know. Well, internally, I don't know how you did it, but I was just giving them a highlight of what the purpose of the exhibitor manual was.
Okay, but
Does that make sense? Or?
Yeah, I want to make sure that because here you have something that has prices, and we're including in their presentation. They don't have to set this up.
No. They can pick. Yeah. No, they can. This is the generic exhibitor manual that everyone has access to, and then you can pick and choose what you need from the manual. But it has everything there for you should you want to go back and reference something and purchase something. It's not that you're obligated. It's just an overall encompassing manual that all exhibitors will receive.
Okay.
Will everyone use all of the information there? No. Will everyone use all of the services offered? No. But just in case you do need something, it's there for you.
Okay.
Okay. The next tab that I think is very important as well is the register booth staff. This is where each exhibitor, again, is entitled to up to 5 booth registrations, and these are the people that will be actually working the booth. So when you're ready to register them, you need to do this through the exhibitor manual, or and click where it says Register Booth Staff. The page will be pre-populated with the information of your company, and then it also has the ability for you to select seminars if you want your staff to attend seminars. If not, you can just bypass it. But again, most of the information, if not all, is pre-populated, and you can just keep adding names until you completed your 5. And if you need more, you just let me know, and we will increase it for you. Is that clear? Hello?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
so
Thank you.
yeah.
Anna, any questions?
No, it's good, Liz. Right now, I'm not seeing the chat. I don't know if there's anyone asking questions in the chat area.
Yeah, it comes down. Somebody just said yes, it's clear. So
Okay.
That's fine.
And then we
and then, Raul, just to build on what you were saying, for those of you on the call, you know, he has 5 that are included without having to invest in additional name tags and so on. And I would highly recommend that you bring enough team with you so somebody's able to walk the show and that you have a minimum of 2 people in the booth and more if possible, so that you have the ability to interact with everyone who comes your way, or just about everyone who comes your way. So, you know, 5 is a really good number, and more might be even better.
Sure. And to Jody's point, which I always remind exhibitors, is that not only can you bring in business from, of course, the buyers that are in attendance at the show, but many times in the past, exhibitors have gained business from other exhibitors at the show.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's advisable that you go around and, you know, you just meet the other exhibitors. Again, we've had testimonials in the past that, you know, they've met either distributors or companies that have been wanting to do some joint ventures. So these things have arisen. Okay. The next one is the new product showcase, and that essentially are the forms that you would need to fill out and include your booth number. And then you either email those to me or fax them to me. And what we'll do is we'll create small name tents, and we'll put them in the glass enclosed showcases at the entrance of the exhibition hall. You're allowed 3 products per company. We don't discriminate. If you need to give me 4 or 5, that's fine as well. But we do need to receive this as soon as possible so we can create these name tents for you. The name tents will include your company name, the product name, and your booth number. And how is this productive? Buyers, when they come to the show, buyers are very, very time conscious. So many buyers come to the show to see what new products are in the market. So they'll come to the showcases, they'll look at these showcases, and they'll, for the most part, many will just go to the booth number directly, and if they're interested, they'll know where to go. And then it allows us.
No, I was going to say, you also, we asked them also to send a press release about their new product. Could you talk about with that?
Yeah, that'll be coming up soon. Yeah, I'll mention that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this new product showcase is an opportunity that we offer to you, included in the purchase of your booth, to help us promote you at your company and your products.
Okay.
The next one I think is very important as well. This one is the virtual new product showcase. It's the online version. Very simple, very, very simple. Once you click on that, again, the information will be pre-populated. And this allows you the opportunity to upload up to 3 photos of your products with a full product name information and brand information. And then it allows you to upload photos of your products that will appear in the online new product showcase, where buyers resort to at the home page to review products prior to the show. So in essence, we're helping you promote your products prior to the show. Does this all make sense?
Perfect sense.
Okay,
Wonderful.
thank you. The next one is the hotel information. For those of you that are coming from abroad, it'll give you and highlight an array of hotel information, including their rates, along with the links of the travel agency that will help you in booking your hotel. The next one is the Exhibitor Survival Guide, and these are just factoids of, they're just simple, 6 factoids of, because 2 days standing up can be somewhat, challenging. So just some minor information on how to overcome some of these things. This next one is also very important. They're buying meeting requests, and this is how it works. When a buyer registers to come to the show, just like you receive your exhibitor welcome letter, buyers receive their visitor welcome letter as well. They also receive a user ID and password that gives them access to their attendee service center, which is the equivalent of your exhibitor manual. Once they access their attendee service center online, just like you do with your exhibitor manual, they are able to go in and set up meetings with each company. And they are able to they will send you, if they're interested in meeting with you, they will send you a notification that you will receive through this buyer meeting request tab. You will see that they will identify themselves with their name, their company name, the date they're asking to meet with you, and the time. You, in return, can either keep it pending, approve it, decline it because you absolutely don't want to do business with them, or you can update it accordingly. Yeah. So we recommend you.
There is a question.
Yes.
And she's it's about there's a couple of questions, so I'm just going to ask them here.
Sure.
Do they have to fill out the new products forms on the website? She had her forms by email. Should she send it by email or do it through the website?
Well, there's one confusing. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, no, Raul, it's just that everybody who has sent me their contract and has gotten their confirmation, I have sent them the form for the new products website. I have sent them the rules, and I have sent them as well a sample press
release
for that. Well, you provided that, Raul, so thank you.
Yeah.
So everybody who has been confirmed, I have sent you an email with that, and so I can send it out again after this webinar so that you have it. And we have had one returned already by Crispy Fruits this morning.
Yeah, and I have it here, and it's printed out, so thank you. One thing that I wanted to just clarify, because it could get a little bit confusing. There are 2 new product showcases that we provide to you. One is the one that's online. It's a virtual new product showcase. That you fill out the form online. The other one, the one that you're going to bring your products to the exhibition hall the day that you set up your booth, that you'll have to fill out a very simple form and email it or fax it to me so that we can create the little name tents for you, for the ones that are going to be on site at the exhibition hall. Is that clear? So there's 2 new product showcases. There's one that's virtual, online, and then the other ones are the ones that are located at the exhibition hall. So we provide you 2 opportunities to market your companies and your products. Is that clear? Because I know it can be somewhat confusing.
She said she got it.
Okay. So the one online for the virtual new product showcase, you're going to complete the form online and upload photos of your products. The ones for the exhibition hall are the forms that Anna sent out. You just fill them out, very simple information, and either email it or fax it to me. Okay? We reviewed the hotel information, the exhibitor survival guide, the buyer meeting request. I recommend that you check this once a week to see if there's any buyers that have made any meetings with you or requested any meetings with you. Do not get discouraged if you don't see a lot of meeting requests. A lot of buyers are just so busy that they simply don't use this tool a lot, even though we remind them on a regular basis to use this as a means of expediting meetings with exhibitors. The next one is the show logo. As Jody had mentioned, the Exhibitor Success Handbook tells you or recommends things that you should do 90, 60, and 30 days out from the show. And one of them is to begin sending email blast invites to existing customers or new customers, and you can use the show logo at the top of your email as part of the invite. Anna had mentioned about, go ahead.
There's one more question. Can the company put designs on their booths or any other forms of publicity on their own booths?
Yes, once you can do as you please with your booth. And it'll have, in the exhibitor manual, it'll give you the limitations as far as if you want to put music in your booth, it can't be higher than, X amount of, I don't know what they call it.
Decibel level.
Yes, that's it. So as to not disturb other exhibitors, and it just names a few limitations, but it's not a lot. But yes, you can decorate your booth as you please. Anna had mentioned the press releases. Also, as part of your booth all-inclusive package, you are able to email me or Anna, and she'll email me, a press release that Anna has already sent out a sample, so thank you, Anna. And these press releases will upload to the show's website, and this is where buyers will also review these press releases, and it gives them a background about the the exhibitors that they would be interested in meeting or exhibitors in general. I highly recommend you send your press releases the sooner the better, so that you can take advantage of buyers that are browsing through the show's website. The lead retrieval form is the lead retrieval scanner that you can scan the buyer's badge, and you can select what information you want to capture from the buyer's registration. Within 24 hours of the show ending, you will receive an Excel spreadsheet with all of the leads that were captured using the lead retrieval scanner. And they're very punctual. The company that does this is very punctual. The last one is shipping information. This is that applies to shipments, of course, of your samples to the show. They're frequently asked Q's and A's, and it also gives you the contact person at the convention center if you have any information, and it also gives you timelines, with dates and so forth and so on. And then finally, we recommend that every time you are done with your exhibitor manual, that you log out. The next thing I wanted to review is the one-on-one buyer meetings. We have contracted services that will provide the women's own business pavilion with one-on-one buyer meeting matchmaking sessions. We internally will handle that for you. We will supply your company information to the company along with the products. They, in turn, the products that you're sampling, they, in turn, will send you a exhibitor profile form, very simple, so they can start compiling all this information and then begin their matchmaking services for you. Okay. I wanted to share one testimonial because I always say to my clients that, of course, we would love for you to have 20 or 15 or 30, contracts that you're able to establish at the show. But in essence, it only really takes one to open up the doors. This will be quick. I had a company approximately 4 or 5 years ago that they called me from their home, and they were creating a juice that was a combination of juice and vegetables, and they wanted to participate and inquire about participating at the show. They were kind of nervous since it was, a product that they were just starting out from their kitchen at home. So after 5 or 6 calls back and forth, they finally came to the show, exhibited at the show, And that was 5 years ago, and now their product is in all of the Whole Food supermarkets at a national level. So that's all it took was one contract to open the doors for this particular product, which some of you may have even tasted. It's called Raw Foods, and they're an excellent juices, again, that you can purchase at Whole Food supermarkets. So that's just a testimonial that stands out in my mind, because they were just so scared to exhibit at the show. They really didn't know what to expect. And so we handheld them through the whole process, and much to our pride, they're now, again, distributed through all of the Whole Food supermarkets at a national level.
That is a really great
yes, it's motivating. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it also goes back to what Jody was presenting on, the dead people. Don't, lose time on
the deadbeats.
On the deadbeats. If you get one really good one and hold their hand and focus on it, it can, be better than trying to waste your time with one set. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that I wanted to reiterate to Anna's and Jody's feedback was the show is closed to the general public, and it's only open to buyers because we want your time there to be as productive as possible and get your returns on your investments. However, are we able to siphon out the non-buyers 100%? No. There's always that 1 or 2% that slip by. So to Anna and Jody's point, you really need to be cognizant and pick up as to who's there at the booth just to get a drink or food and who's not. And we try to do our best to, again, filter those people that are non-buyers. But, again, there's that one small percentage, 1% at most, that just happen to slip by and are not. So that's one thing I wanted to mention.
Raul, can you confirm your email address, and I'll send it out to everybody?
Of course. It's R. Morales.
Morales?
That's correct. At worldtrade.org.
ES at the end, not ES at the end, not AS.
Right. At worldtrade.org.
That's correct.
Got it.
So just to build quickly, because we're wrapping up now on what Raul was saying. If you're clear about who your ideal customer or the ideal contact is that you want to make, you've set your reticular activating system for that, then you'll know who not to invest your time with. You want to make sure you're getting a return on it. And that doesn't mean don't talk to people, but you might actually give it to a junior member of the team to give them information while you focus as the owner or your senior sales team on those that can give you the most return.
Absolutely. And if I can add, yes.
No, I was just saying I've had a couple questions by email prior to this, with people asking how many samples or products should they bring. Do you have any guidelines for that?
We don't have any set formula that tells us how many either. Some exhibitors will pour samples in small plastic sampling cups. Others just prefer to bring in and give out the bottles. So it really is relative to each exhibitor. Again, I say that our average attendance is in 9,000 plus. Are you going to be giving out 9,000 bottles? No. Will all 9,000 people that come to the show stop at your booth? Possibly. But are you going to give out sampling to someone who's really interested in looking for produce and you're really selling beverage? Probably not. So that's really always been a very difficult formula for us to come up with how many you should bring. Some people prefer to bring more and then take them back home, or they prefer they can only bring a certain amount because they just don't have enough in inventory. So, Anna, that's a tough question for me to answer. Again, I always say,
in your manual, it talks about how if people leave a product behind, that there are organizations that will actually take that product and give it to hungry people. So don't worry about bringing too much.
Right.
If you bring too much and you don't want to take it home, we'll actually use it to take care of the hungry in our community.
That's correct, Jody. Thank you. It is at the end of the show. Anyone that wants to contribute their food, we do give them to. We do organize it and compile it, and we give it to the Camilla's House to feed the poor. One last statement that I really wanted to reiterate and stress upon is the following. In most shows that I've visited, and from doing this for 8.5 years, during each show, there is a very nice euphoria and networking buzz that goes on in the show. But I always tell my clients that the real work begins once the show is over. And I think that's expressed in the Exhibitor Success Handbook. So once the show is over, that's where the real work now lies ahead of you, is in following up with those buyers, reeling them in, circling back to them, reminding them that you met with them, establishing meeting dates, and so forth and so on. So that's something that I always like to reiterate to clients. Don't wait for buyers to contact you. There are some instances where they will, but the real work lies ahead after the show and you with your follow-up. And one last thing that I need to throw in is when I've gone to shows and I walk through booths, I see so many staff members just sitting there speaking amongst themselves and just buyers walking by and not being proactive in reaching out to them. As Jody had mentioned before, each buyer that walks by your booth is a potential contract. It's a potential door that's going to open. So
treat them that way.
Yeah.
Thank you, Raul. And we're 4 minutes over our time, so I'd like to try to wrap up. We got a couple more questions that maybe, we might be able to address, and Jody has some words of inspiration to help close up the webinar as well. I also just do want to mention that we're working with WEConnect and with the Women's Business Development Council of Florida to have their corporate members also be aware of the show, and although it isn't an official event of theirs, that they will be working with us to reach out to the corporate members and their buyers, and we will be giving them, the World Trade Center will be giving them free access to the show, and we will encourage them to come and participate and provide those names to the gentlemen who will be setting up your one-on-ones.
Great.
Awesome. Okay, so we have two last questions here. The participants have to pay the taxes or insurance. They will, I think this goes back, we might have to get back to you on the insurance, but are there any taxes that they have to pay?
No. And in the 8 years or 9 years that I've been doing this, I think maybe 1 or 2 companies are the ones that have actually purchased event insurance. Again, that's relative to each company of how they want to pursue it, but no, there's no taxes involved.
Yeah, and on the insurance, we'll have to get back to people because at one point I think Charlotte had said she was going to see if she could get the women's pavilion covered under the World Trade Center. Great. We'll have to follow up and confirm on that.
Yeah. That works.
One other last question is, can we sell some of our products if people want to keep it or taste? If they, we're going to give out samples, but can they buy them? Or can they sell it?
No, to keep the integrity of the show and to keep the concept of buying in, large portions, it is not a cash and carry show. So, no. It's not that anyone's going to be policing you from booth to booth, but again, the regulations do not allow any type of selling individual products for customers just to walk away with.
Is there Wi-Fi access? Is there Wi-Fi access at the show?
Yes.
There is.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And all of this information, and that's a good question to use as a sample, all of this information is in your exhibitor manual.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up. I'm going to let Jody give us her words of inspiration, and I think Belisa and Nancy are on the call, and just let us know if you want to say anything to your folks. But it's not necessary, but I want to thank you for helping us in selecting the women that are going to the show.
Okay, so in wrapping up, you can take, as soon as we get off this call, stay at your seat there and write out the top 5 things that you must do to prepare to get the most from your participation. And obviously, number 1 is read the Exhibitor Success Handbook, because there are time-sensitive suggestions in there for you to make the most of it. And then also, when you're looking at the press release that you're going to send in to Anna, also be sure that you release it online and locally wherever you are, so that you make the most out of that press release. So with that said, I'd like to give you a quote from Jim Rohn, which says, "Never wish your life were easier, wish that you were better." You might be sitting there thinking to yourself, oh my God, there's so much work involved in all of this. But never wish that your life were easier, wish that you were better and more capable and brighter, and that you had an expanded team. So I leave you with that quote, and now it's time for you to get into action, make the most of this show. Thank you so much. I apologize that we went over today by 9 minutes, but I know that you got a lot of valuable information from Raul, and I wish you the very best and look forward to seeing you at the show.
Good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Bye for now.